My Range Rover was my pride, my gleaming black chariot, until Karen turned it into a neon nightmare. I woke up to flowers gaudy, spray-painted blooms splattered across its hood like a toddler's art project gone rogue. I stood frozen in my driveway, coffee mug slipping from my hand, as the neighborhood's self-appointed HOA queen, Karen, smirked from her porch, a can of hot pink paint dangling from her manicured fingers. This wasn't just vandalism, it was war. A war I never saw coming, sparked by a single misplaced flower pot and a grudge that spiraled into a courtroom showdown, where justice would cut deeper than I ever imagined. It started innocently enough, or so I thought. I'm Jake, a 38-year-old architect who moved to Willow Creek for its quiet streets and big lots, perfect for my dream home. My wife, Lena, and I had spent years saving for that Range Rover, a symbol of our grind. We weren't flashy, but that car was our reward. The neighborhood was idyllic, or so it seemed, until Karen, the HOA president, started her reign of terror. She wasn't the stereotypical Karen with a bob cut and a live, laugh, love sign. No, this Karen was a retired lawyer, sharp as a tack, with a smile that could freeze blood. Her obsession? Enforcing HOA rules with biblical zeal. No blade of grass could be too long, no mailbox too faded, and God forbid your flower pot wasn't community approved. It was that damn flower pot that started it. Lena had placed a vibrant blue ceramic pot on our porch, filled with marigolds. Karen sent us a violation notice within hours, claiming it clashed with the neighborhood aesthetic. I laughed it off, thinking it was a joke. I mean, a flower pot. Really? But Lena, ever the peacemaker, moved it to the backyard. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Karen's next letter demanded we repaint our mailbox to match the approved palette. Then she cited our lawn for uneven edging. Each complaint was a jab, testing my patience. I ignored them, thinking she'd tire out. Big mistake. The tension simmered for weeks. Karen's passive-aggressive notes piled up, each one more condescending than the last. Dear Jacob, your failure to comply undermines our community's values, one read. I'd crumple them, muttering about her need for a hobby. Lena urged me to talk to her, but I refused. She's just a bored busybody, I said. Let her stew. Then came the neighborhood meeting. Karen stood at the podium, her voice dripping with faux concern, calling out certain residents for disrespecting our shared standards. Her eyes locked on me. The room felt like a pressure cooker, neighbors shifting uncomfortably, some nodding along like sheep. I stood up, heart pounding, and called her out. Karen, your rules are absurd. Nobody cares about my flower pot except you. The room gasped. Her smile tightened, but she didn't flinch. Standards matter, Jacob, she said, voice like ice. You'll see. 2 days later, I found my Range Rover defaced. Neon pink and yellow flowers, sprayed in clumsy loops, covered the hood and doors. The paint dripped like tears, mocking me. I stormed to Karen's house, fists clenched, only to find her sipping tea on her porch, calm as ever. Problem, Jacob? She asked, her eyes glinting with triumph. You did this. I roared, pointing at the can of paint by her chair. She shrugged. Prove it. Neighbors peeked from their windows, drawn to the spectacle. Lena pulled me back, whispering, don't give her the satisfaction. But I was livid. This wasn't about a car anymore, it was about power. I called the police, who took one look at the car and Karen's smug face and said there wasn't enough evidence. No witnesses, no cameras, just my word against hers. I hired a private investigator, desperate to pin her. He found nothing concrete, but the neighborhood buzzed with rumors. Some said Karen had bragged about teaching me a lesson. Others, her loyal minions, claimed I deserved it for defying the community. Lena begged me to let it go, to repaint the car and move on. But I couldn't. That car wasn't just metal and rubber, it was our sacrifice, our triumph. Karen had spit on that. I wanted justice. I took her to small claims court, demanding restitution for the damage. The courtroom was a circus. Karen, in a crisp blazer, played the victim, claiming I was harassing her over unfounded accusations. She spun a tale of being a dedicated community leader, slandered by an uncooperative resident. I presented photos of the car, the paint can on her porch, and even a neighbor's testimony about her gloating. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with tired eyes, wasn't impressed by Karen's theatrics. "Mrs. Thompson," she said, "your story doesn't add up." The room went silent as she ruled in my favor, $7,000 for repairs and court costs. I felt a rush of victory. Karen's face crumpled, her composure shattered. For once, she was powerless. But the win was hollow. The neighborhood fractured. Karen's allies shunned us, whispering about troublemakers. Others, fed up with her tyranny, started defying her rules. Wildflower gardens sprouted, mailboxes turned neon. The HOA meetings became shouting matches. Lena and I became pariahs, caught in the crossfire. The car was repainted, but every time I drove it, I saw those garish flowers, a reminder of the cost. Then came the final blow. A month after the ruling, Karen sold her house and moved away. I thought it was over. But on her last day, she left a note on my windshield: "You won the battle, Jacob. Not the war." Chills ran down my spine. She'd filed a countersuit, claiming emotional distress from my harassment. The legal fees drained us. The court dismissed her case, but the damage was done. Our savings were gutted, and the neighborhood was a war zone. Lena and I sat on our porch one evening, staring at the blue flower pot we brought back out. "Was it worth it?" she asked, her voice heavy. I didn't have an answer. I'd fought for justice, but all I'd won was a repaired car and a broken community. Karen was gone, but her shadow lingered in the suspicious glances, the divided neighbors, the quiet resentment. I'd exposed her, but at what cost? The Range Rover gleamed under the streetlight, but it felt like a trophy from a war nobody won. The real sting came later. I learned Karen had been struggling. Her husband had left her, her law career had crumbled, and the HOA was her last grip on control. I'd seen her as a villain, but maybe she was just broken, lashing out to feel something. It didn't excuse her, but it made me question my own rage. Had I fought for justice or just my ego? The line blurred, and the bitterness settled in my chest like dust. What would you have done? Let it go or fought back, knowing the cost? Share your thoughts. Where does justice end and vengeance begin?